Yeah, this fight's going to be Jean Silva versus Charles Jourdain. This is a really exciting fight. This is a good one that is definitely it has my attention. Jean Silva, he's another guy who came off the Contender Series last September, won his debut, got the contract. This is going to be his second official UFC fight. And I think his first UFC fight, Jean Silva's debut, might have some clues for us for how this fight with Charles Jourdain is going to go. And here's why I think that. So Silva's used to being the shorter guy. He's about 5'7", and this is at 145 pounds. So it's not like he's undersized for the weight class, but he's definitely also never going to be the tallest guy at 145 when he's walking around at 5'7". But what's interesting though is Weston Wilson, his debut fight, that was a guy who was 6'1", huge height and reach advantage that he had over Jean Silva. Now, the height and reach advantage that Charles Jourdain has, I thought was going to be a lot more drastic because seeing Charles Jourdain in the octagon, he looks, at least to me on TV, bigger than what he is because he's 5'9". I was fully expecting to think that he was at least 6', 6'1", that type of thing. But nonetheless, he still has a 2-inch height advantage over Jean Silva. Charles Jourdain has a 69-inch reach, and Silva has a 69-inch reach also. So even though Jourdain has the height, the reach is identical. And I know all this is going to be on the screen in front of you, but it plays into my analysis because what I'm getting at is Silva's debut with Weston Wilson. Wilson was very much the type of guy that Charles Jourdain is, this tall, rangy guy who usually has that range and that height advantage over their opponents. They try to force that advantage, and when they can't force that advantage, they struggle. They have an in and out style. They try to have like that karate, like kind of like point style. More so Weston Wilson with a karate influence. Simpsonville guy from, I believe, North Carolina, not South Carolina. I could be getting it wrong, but what I'm getting at with that is trains probably under Wonder Boy because that's where Wonder Boy has his gym. We already know the karate boxing in and out stance that Wonder Boy has. That's what Weston Wilson has. Charles Jourdain doesn't necessarily do the karate box, but he definitely point fights. And I know it's probably going to get some hate comments because there's people still living in 2020, 2018 right now. Yeah, 2019 when he made his debut, people still think Charles Jourdain is some type of dark horse in 145. I don't think he is. I think we've seen him. We know what he is. And here's my analysis. Silva's going to basically fight this fight like he did Weston Wilson. It's not going to be a problem that Jourdain's the taller man. Silva was really good in that Weston Wilson fight about being able to get in on the huge reach and height advantage that Weston Wilson had on him without being countered on his way in. He was very smart about it, very methodical about it, and he has some power. Like every shot that he was hitting Weston Wilson with, he didn't get, bloodthirsty for the finish, just very methodical, set himself up, squared his stance up, had a good stance, and just boom, good shot selection. And every shot was just wilting Weston Wilson. And a lot of people think that Silva's kind of suspect in the grappling department, even though he's Brazilian and trains out of a pretty good gym down there in Brazil, the Nerd Fight Team. They're starting to make a name for themselves with their little taped up glasses in the middle. You see guys wearing those after their fights. That's the team they're on. So Silva is just really, really good puncher for the weight class. It seems like he has dynamite in his hands, very methodical, very focused on the finish, doesn't headhunt, will mix it up to the body. Easily able to defend Weston Wilson's takedowns. Once he first rocked Wilson, he started to shoot, but the takedowns are very sloppy, very good at avoiding them. The one takedown that did land on Silva, able to, use his leverage, bounce right back up to his feet, get back to the center of the octagon, regain control, wasn't an issue. I don't think Jourdain's going to try to grapple. That is the X factor in this fight, is if he does try to press that perceived advantage that he has. I'm not sure how that's going to play out because I haven't seen too much of Silva's grappling to base judgment off of, but I firmly believe Jourdain is going to want to do what he always tries to do, especially against another guy that wants to strike against him. We just saw it with Sean Woodson, striker versus striker. Silva's going to want to strike, Jourdain's going to want to strike, and Jourdain's going to want to just honestly, point fight. Just play it very safe, play it very conservative, and just try to score points and not get hit. I just don't think he's going to be able to do that for even 3 rounds against Silva. Silva's just way too good and used to not ever having that height and reach advantage. He's just pretty much what you should do as a shorter fighter with a lesser reach advantage is really work on your infighting and really work on your pocket boxing and just fighting in that phone booth and making it nasty for guys and taking away kicks, because Jourdain also likes to use kicks. That's a lot more difficult to do when you got somebody like Silva just being a little pit bull in your face going after you. You can't use the full leverage of those kicks to really make them hurt. So, yeah, I just think Silva's going to get this done. I want to say KO TKO, but it just does worry me how much Jourdain is elusive. He is really good at, like I said, just getting in and out, just tap, 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 avoid the shot, tap, tap, tap. So that's a little concerning to me, but I mean, I do like how they have the under on this currently set at a plus. So I do like that because Weston Wilson in his debut was finished in round 1. So I think that under 2.5 at plus 130 is a really good value for Silva because I do see a finish, and at 2.5, that's pretty much money. That's money to me. I like that a lot. Under 2.5, that's a very reasonable goal to try to hit. So right now, unfortunately, the odds have kind of moved to more of a pick 'em. When I last looked this up yesterday, I was happy because Silva was a bit of a dog, I believe, at like a plus 110, maybe 120, somewhere around in there. Moneyline, Jourdain minus 118, Silva minus 102. If you go over 2.5, minus 166. If you go under 2.5, plus 130. Yeah, I'm going to go Silva, KO, TKO, and I'm going to go under 2.5 to hit that plus 130. What do you got, Ben?
I'm not going to spend too much more on this fight than you did. I think you broke it down excellent. Both fighters, I think they're talented in all aspects, except with Silva. I think he's able to get takedowns and transition straight into subs, which I've not seen from Jourdain. With Jourdain, I can see a lot of his kicks, they've been caught, and he can get really sloppy at times. I'm really surprised that Silva, I think it's because Silva doesn't have the experience and the exposure that Jourdain does, but Silva right now, 49% of bets, 71% of the money. So he's got over 20% of the sharp money coming in on Silva. I like it. I like Silva too in this one, and I'm also on the under with you. I like that we're getting that 2.5 line. I think it gives us a little bit of breathing room. Neither of these guys, they can go to a decision, but I think a lot of their fights have been ended early, whether it's submission, or the knockout. I like Silva in this one too, Bobby. I think that was a great breakdown.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better in Green, eh? Better in green, eh? You better in green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better in green.